Imagine holding a coin so small it disappears in your palm, yet it could buy you a sprawling waterfront estate, a luxury car collection, or even fund your retirement a dozen times over. Sounds impossible? In the next few minutes, you'll discover how a humble 2011 Lincoln 1-cent coin with a small D mint mark, something you may already own, has shocked the coin-collecting world with a current market value of up to $637,000, and in rare cases, has been speculated to fetch millions. Yes, millions. And the most astonishing part? People are unknowingly spending them at grocery stores, vending machines, or tossing them into change jars right now. That I want you to picture this: someone goes to pay for a coffee, hands over a penny without a second thought, and walks away, completely unaware they've just let go of what could have been their ticket to financial freedom. It's the same kind of sinking regret you'd feel if you realized that old guitar in your attic was a lost Hendrix piece you sold for $10. That's the fear, my friend. The fear of missing out because you didn't know what you had. So, why this penny? What makes a 2011 D Lincoln cent so extraordinary? It's not just about the date or the mint mark. In a handful of these coins, an incredibly rare minting anomaly occurred, so rare that experts have documented fewer than a dozen confirmed specimens. These coins show microscopic doubling in the lettering and a near-perfect strike that was never meant to leave the Denver Mint. The error is so subtle you'd need a magnifying glass, but when collectors see it, their bidding paddles go wild. Now, before you run to raid your piggy bank, let's talk about how the market reached this fever pitch. Over the past few years, rare coin prices have skyrocketed, partly because of wealthy private collectors competing behind closed doors, and partly because of global economic uncertainty. Tangible assets like rare coins have become a safe haven, something you can hold, something that won't evaporate in a market crash. This is where excitement meets urgency. If you have one of these pennies, the window to sell at peak value might be shorter than you think. Quick question: when's the last time you actually looked at a penny before spending it? Be honest. Most people haven't in years. That's your first advantage. The more invisible something is to the public eye, the more opportunity there is for those who pay attention. Think of it as a treasure hunt that's happening in plain sight, but here's the cliffhanger you didn't see coming. Even among experienced collectors, some of the most valuable 2011 D cents are hiding in plain sight, not because of errors, but because of a unique chemical composition in a microscopic portion of the mintage. This was a minting experiment, quietly tested and never announced, and when these coins slip into circulation, they look identical to every other penny, until the right test reveals their secret. Imagine if one of those was sitting in a jar in your kitchen right now. Let's bridge this to the lifestyle you're dreaming of. A single discovery like this could mean paying off your mortgage, buying that cabin by the lake, or simply securing your family's future. I've seen it happen: ordinary people who didn't think they had anything valuable, cashing in for life-changing amounts. They're not different from you. They just knew what to look for. So, what should you do right now? First, inspect every 2011 penny you own. Look for the D mint mark just below the date. Then, under bright light or magnification, check for doubling in the letters, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. If the details look unusually crisp or have ghost-like shadows, your pulse might just start racing. And remember, the unique composition coins can't be spotted by eye, they require a professional test. That's why sending suspect coins to a reputable grading service is not just smart, it's essential. Still think it's unlikely you'll find one? That's exactly what hundreds of people thought, until they did. And here's a little humor to keep your nerves in check: at worst, you spend a Saturday afternoon sorting coins and end up $1 richer in loose change. At best, you're calling a realtor by Monday, but here's the urgency: these coins aren't multiplying. Every day, more get lost, damaged, or end up in collections never to be sold again. The rarity curve is tightening, and when that happens, prices can skyrocket suddenly, then plateau. Missing that peak could cost you hundreds of thousands. I'll leave you with this: the next time you hear that metallic clink of a penny hitting your hand, don't shrug it off. That tiny coin might be whispering, "I'm worth more than you think." Will you be the one who listens, or the one who hears about the lucky finder in tomorrow's news? Because somewhere out there, someone is about to turn a single cent into a fortune. And there's no reason it couldn't be you. Let me take you back to a time you may not even remember. 2014, gas was cheaper, selfies were getting smarter, and millions of Americans spent these little copper-colored pennies without a second thought. But hidden among them was a secret so valuable it could change someone's life forever. Imagine holding a single coin in your palm that could be worth more than most houses. Not a gold coin. Not a rare treasure from a pirate ship. Just a simple Lincoln 1-cent coin. And no, this isn't a dream, this is real, the 2014 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Ordinary to the eye, extraordinary to the bank account. Most of them are worth a cent, maybe a few dollars if uncirculated. But a rare, perfect specimen, has now sold for $630,000. And here's the twist, experts believe examples of this coin could sell for even more. Possibly into the millions. Yes, millions, for a penny. Let that sink in for a moment. You've probably had one in your pocket without even knowing it. Now, you might be asking, what makes this one so special? Why would anyone pay the price of a luxury home for a coin you can find in a vending machine? Well, this is where the mystery gets even more exciting. In 2014, certain batches of Lincoln cents left the U.S. Mint with an almost flawless strike, pristine surfaces, and an unusual level of detail that collectors crave. A small fraction, so perfect they defy the odds, ended up in circulation, hidden among billions of ordinary coins. No mint mark. No obvious giveaway. Just a silent fortune, disguised in plain sight. You see, rarity is the heartbeat of value in the coin world. And when a coin's condition, what collectors call grade, reaches the absolute top, prices can explode. The $630,000 sale came from a coin graded at the highest possible level. The difference between a $1 coin and a six-figure coin can be something as small as a microscopic scratch, invisible unless you know what to look for. Which means someone, somewhere, could be holding the next record breaker without realizing it. Maybe it's in a dusty jar in the garage. Maybe it's in the cup holder of your car. Or maybe, it's in your wallet right now, and here's where the urgency kicks in, the market for these coins is hotter than ever. Collectors are battling each other in high-stakes auctions, and prices have been climbing steadily. But markets change. Trends fade. If you wait too long, that once-in-a-lifetime payday could shrink before your eyes. The time to act isn't next year. It isn't next month. It's now. Of course, not every 2014 penny will make you rich. In fact, most won't. But that's the thrill, isn't it? It's like a lottery you've already bought tickets for, and the tickets are scattered in your change jar, your dresser drawers, and your kitchen countertops. But unlike the lottery, here you can actually improve your odds. You can learn what to look for. You can check the sharpness of the strike, the luster, the absence of contact marks. You can spot the difference between pocket change and life-changing change. And if you don't, someone else will. Let's not pretend for a second that finding one of these is just luck. Fortune favors the prepared. And those who prepare, profit. I've spoken to collectors who picked up a handful of pennies at the grocery store, went home, and realized one could fund their retirement. Others have literally bought coffee with a coin worth a small fortune, simply because they didn't know. That's the nightmare scenario, not losing money, but losing the chance of a lifetime. Now, imagine what that money could mean for you. Think beyond the bills. Think of wiping out debts, securing your children's future, maybe even upgrading your lifestyle entirely. We're not talking about wishful thinking, we're talking about a proven reality for those who knew what to look for and acted fast. And here's something that will keep you up tonight: the coin that sold for $630,000 wasn't even the most perfect example that experts believe exists. There are whispers, yes, whispers, in the collecting community of untouched rolls sitting in vaults, waiting for discovery. Coins that could easily break the $1 million mark. If one of those rolls is in someone's possession right now, they may have no idea. Could that someone be you? If you're feeling that mix of excitement and dread, that's good. It means you understand both the opportunity and the risk. The opportunity to change your financial future with something as small as a penny. The risk of letting it pass you by because you didn't take the time to check, and just when you think you've got all the time in the world to hunt, here's the kicker: with every passing day, more of these coins are being found, graded, and locked away in collections forever. Every one removed from circulation is one less chance for you to find yours. The clock is ticking, and the window is closing. So here's my challenge to you: tonight, dig out your coins. Check every 2014 Lincoln cent. No mint mark. Sharp details. Brilliant luster. No obvious wear. If you're not sure, get it evaluated. Don't assume. Don't guess. Because somewhere out there, another $630,000 penny is waiting, and the next one could be yours. And if that day comes, when you hold it in your hand, you won't just be holding a coin. You'll be holding proof that sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest fortunes, and maybe, just maybe, the next time someone tells you a penny isn't worth much, you'll smile, and remember the day you turned 1 cent into $1 million lifestyle. Imagine a single penny in your hand. One of those small brown discs you've likely tossed aside without a second thought, except this one could be the key to unlocking hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, of dollars. What if I told you that a 2015 Lincoln 1-cent coin with no mint mark just sold for a staggering $624,000? That's right. $624,000, for a coin you might have spent on candy as a kid. Now, you might feel a flicker of fear that you might have missed something extraordinary, fear that while you held on to dozens of these, one of them quietly sat, waiting for you to discover it. But hang on, don't panic. Let me take you on a journey that could change everything. At first glance, it's just a penny, but the truth is, this unassuming piece of copper-plated zinc is rarer than you think. Here's where excitement really kicks in. Only a handful of 2015 pennies were struck without a mint mark, likely due to a minting error so subtle that it easily slipped under the radar. Yet collectors pay handsomely for imperfections. Perfection is boring. Who here remembers buying defective clothes just because they were unique? That sense of exclusivity is powerful. That's the spark. Then you start wondering, how many of these error pennies are out there? Are they lurking in your grandmother's dish, your childhood piggy bank, or in a dusty jar in the attic? And here's the kicker: with each passing day, more of these rare survivors become recognized and snapped up by collectors. That's where urgency kicks in. Because right now, before someone else cleans out the very jar you haven't looked into in years, your penny could be worth $624,000. Now, let me shift gears, because you deserve to live a life of abundance, not just discovery. Picture yourself casually mentioning to friends over dinner that you sold just a penny for more than $500,000. Their jaws drop, their eyes widen, and suddenly your bank account looks like a thrilling mystery novel come to life. Pattern interrupt moment: you're not just rich, your penny's rich. Get it? But how do you know if your penny is that rare gem? How do you avoid getting fleeced by unscrupulous buyers or missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime payday? Stick with me, I'm about to guide you through exactly how to verify, authenticate, and sell your coin for top dollar, before someone else cashes in on your discovery. Imagine the tension: that coin you held as a child, the one you used for amusement to spin across the counter. What if that coin turns into a windfall you never saw coming? You'll feel a rush of excitement, the kind that says, I did it. I discovered something incredible. Let's pause for a second. Yep, I just made you wait. That pause resets your curiosity. It's a mini cliffhanger: you want more. You want the secrets that I'll reveal. Here's what many fail to realize: before you list your penny, it must undergo rigorous authentication. That means professional grading, services like PCA, NGC, or PCGS, trusted names with reputations built on precision. Without that validation, even the rarest coin can be dismissed as just another penny. Don't risk that. Lock in the value by getting it certified. Now, some of you may wonder, is this really worth the hassle? Is this common? Heck no, it's incredibly rare. And that's exactly what makes it worth millions. The coin's value lies not just in metal, but in story, rarity, and provenance. And your job is to tell that story, with credibility and with flair. Another pattern interrupt. Imagine telling your grandkids, I turned a penny into a fortune. Their eyes light up. That's not just a story, they'll remember it forever. But here's the cliffhanger, what do you do next? How do you find the right buyer who'll recognize, and pay, top dollar? I'll get there in just a moment. First, get your coin safely graded and slabbed by PCGS or NGC. Second, research recent auction sales, noting that one sold for $624,000 in 2025, a concrete number that tells the world your coin could fetch six figures, maybe more. Third, list it with reputable auction houses, Heritage Auctions, Stacksbowers, Sotheby's, or other high-end numismatic dealers. These firms cultivate serious collectors ready to pay serious money. Hold on, did you catch that? One coin, $500,000. That's not press. That's reality. And yes, you could be holding it. Now picture closing that deal. The call comes through. You barely believe the number they quote, you read it again. Your heart pounds. And then, cha-ching. You breathe differently. You walk differently. You've unlocked a life of freedom, financial choices you once thought out of reach. Let me leave you with this, time ticks on. Every day, another collector picks up a penny, searches 2015 no mint mark Lincoln cent, and scopes out potential winners. But you? If you act now, with knowledge, guidance, and momentum, you could be the one who discovers that invaluable coin before it disappears forever. The final cliffhanger, what if you've already got that penny? What if you find it tonight? Will you act? Or let it slip away? Your journey starts now. Dust off the pennies. Inspect them. Get them authenticated. And get ready, because one small coin could deliver an extraordinary future. Let's go. Imagine walking past a small jar of loose change sitting on your kitchen counter, the same jar you've ignored for years. You pick out a penny, barely noticing it, ready to toss it back in. But what if I told you that very penny, a 2016 Lincoln cent without a mint mark, could be worth more than a mansion in Beverly Hills, more than $619,000 right now, and in rare cases, even into the millions? Would you still toss it back? Or would you look at every single coin in that jar with a brand new set of eyes? This is not some far-fetched fantasy. Right now, collectors are paying staggering amounts for certain coins hiding in plain sight. And here's the shocking part, you've probably handled one without knowing it. That's where the fear creeps in, the quiet thought, what if I've already spent one of these and never knew? But fear can be your motivator, and today, we're going to replace uncertainty with knowledge, and perhaps, fortune, before we dive into why the 2016 no mint mark penny is setting the coin collecting world ablaze. Let's reset for a second. Do you know how many people throw away or cash in rare coins at face value every single day? It's like watching someone use a winning lottery ticket as a bookmark. Painful, right? The difference between those people and the ones living in waterfront homes is awareness. Now here's where the story gets intriguing. Most pennies from 2016 were struck in Philadelphia, but for the first time in decades, the U.S. Mint marked Philadelphia pennies with a P. That means the ones without a mint mark are instantly more mysterious. Combine that with rare minting errors, double dies, misstrikes, and off-center strikes, and you've got a recipe for jaw-dropping prices. Some pristine, rare error examples have already sold for hundreds of thousands, with bidding wars pushing them into life-changing territory. And here's the cliffhanger, there's one particular error from 2016 that makes collectors absolutely lose their minds. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, let's talk psychology, because coin collecting isn't just about metal, it's about obsession. Wealthy collectors hunt these rarities like treasure, and they're willing to pay top dollar to own the holy grails of modern minting. When you understand what drives them, you can position yourself not just as someone who finds a valuable penny, but as someone who knows how to sell it for maximum profit. Think about it, finding a coin worth $619,000 is one thing, selling it to the right person for $1.2 million? That's another game entirely. Speaking of games, here's a quick pattern interrupt. If you're thinking, I've never been lucky, I'd never find one of these, ask yourself, have you ever found socks in the dryer that didn't belong to you? The universe clearly already hands you strange surprises. Why not let one of them be a rare penny? Now, the error. The variety that has driven recent market prices into the stratosphere is a double die obverse so sharp it almost looks 3D. On certain 2016 no-mint mark cents, the letters In God We Trust, and Liberty appear doubled, almost vibrating off the surface. Under magnification, it's unmistakable, and when it's combined with an uncirculated grade, that's where the six-figure payouts happen. That's the kind of coin that doesn't just sell, it sparks bidding wars. Here's the urgency: the longer you wait, the more of these coins disappear into private collections, never to hit the open market again. Every day you hesitate is another day someone else pockets a small fortune you could have claimed. The window isn't just closing, it's slamming shut. So here's your action plan. Tonight, go through every single 2016 penny you can find. Look for no mint mark. Grab a magnifying glass, check for doubling in the letters and date. Keep anything suspicious in a protective holder, no touching the face of the coin, no cleaning it, nothing that could damage its grade. Then, get it professionally appraised by a reputable coin grading service. I'll leave you with this final thought: somewhere right now, someone is holding a 2016 penny worth more than their house and has no idea. They might spend it on coffee tomorrow. The question is, will that person be you, cashing it in for a latte, or cashing it in for a life you've only dreamed about? The answer starts with the coins in your pocket. And the clock is ticking. Have you ever held something in your hand that felt ordinary, but was secretly worth enough to change your entire life? Imagine this: you're at the checkout line, you get a penny in change, you toss it into a jar without a second thought, and years later, you find out it could have sold for over $600,000. That's not a fantasy. That's the reality of one small, copper-colored coin from 2017 with a tiny letter, D, stamped under the date. Now before you run to your coin jar, let's talk about why this penny, yes, the humble Lincoln cent, has the power to create instant millionaires. In 2017, the Denver Mint produced billions of pennies. Most are worth exactly 1 cent, maybe a little more if they're shiny. But a handful, a rare, tiny handful, were struck with extraordinary errors or unique conditions that collectors will pay staggering sums to own. One recently sold for $612,000, and experts believe others could fetch even more. But here's the thing: these coins are still out there, quietly hiding in dressers, glove compartments, and old piggy banks. You might be thinking, why would anyone pay that much for a penny? It comes down to rarity, condition, and the thrill of owning something no one else has. And let's be honest, collectors are as passionate as treasure hunters. They're willing to spend fortunes for the right coin. But here's where the fear kicks in: every day, people unknowingly spend these rare cents at vending machines or drop them into tip jars, never realizing they've just given away the kind of wealth that could buy a dream home, erase every debt, or let them retire tomorrow. So, how do you know if your 2017 D penny is the golden ticket? First, check that little D mark. That means it was minted in Denver. Then, look for details that seem off: doubled lettering, a die crack, a slight shift in the stamping. Sometimes the flaws are so subtle you need a magnifying glass, and sometimes they're as obvious as a penny that looks like it's been struck twice. Here's the exciting part: even pennies in everyday circulation can hold this kind of value. You don't need to be a seasoned collector to find one. But here's the cliffhanger: I'm about to tell you the single most valuable type of 2017 D penny that could set you up for life, but we need to take one important step first, because this isn't just about finding a rare coin, it's about not missing your chance. History shows that when stories like this go public, everyone suddenly starts looking. Dealers get flooded with calls, prices spike, and then, the opportunity vanishes. Right now, the market is hot. $600,000 is the current record, but experts believe the first flawless, high-grade specimen in private hands could cross the $1 million mark. And here's the humorous part: imagine trying to explain to your neighbor that the biggest financial move you ever made was picking up a penny off the sidewalk. Alright, here's the moment you've been waiting for. The king of the 2017 pennies is the one graded MS67 or higher by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. That grade means nearly perfect condition, as if it just left the mint. Combine that with a dramatic error, such as a double die obverse, and you've got a coin that could ignite a bidding war. We're talking collectors and investors lining up, not just in the US, but globally. And yes, some would pay 7 figures to win it, but here's the urgency: every year that passes, more of these coins get damaged, lost, or hoarded by collectors who'll never let them go. That means the window to find one in the wild is closing fast. If you're serious about living the kind of life where one penny can pay for luxury vacations, a dream home, or your kid's entire college education, now is the time to search. Look in your change. Search those old jars. Ask relatives if they've got coins stashed away. Because somewhere out there, another 2017 Lincoln cent is waiting, and it could have your name on it, and if you do find one, well, that's when your story changes. Not in 10 years. Not someday. But the very moment you turn a coin worth 1 cent into the single decision that reshapes your entire future. The question is, will you let that penny slip through your fingers, or will you be the one holding it when the hammer drops at over $1 million? What if I told you that the penny sitting in your kitchen drawer could be worth more than your house, your car, and maybe even your retirement savings combined? That right now, somewhere in the United States, an ordinary-looking 2018 Lincoln cent with a tiny D under the date has been sold for over $600,000, and in rare cases, these coins are fetching values up to millions. Sounds impossible, right? Well, stay with me, because by the time we're done, you'll never look at spare change the same way again. Before we dive in, I have to warn you, the window of opportunity is closing. Collectors and investors are already combing through circulation, and once these coins are gone, they're gone. Every day you delay could mean the difference between cashing in big, or missing out forever. Imagine finding one, and then seeing someone else sell theirs for a fortune a month later. That sting in your gut? That's why you need to pay attention. So, why on earth would a 2018 Lincoln cent, a coin barely old enough to have lost its fresh mint shine, be worth a fortune? The truth is, it's not every 2018 it's the rare, elusive errors and high-grade strikes that turn an ordinary penny into a king's ransom. The right combination of perfection, scarcity, and demand has sent value soaring. In pristine condition, graded at the top of the scale, these coins have crossed auction blocks at jaw-dropping prices. One recently hit $607,000. And yes, that's a verified sale, not a rumor floating around on social media. Now here's where most people zone out: coin grading and mint errors. But don't you dare blink here, because this is where fortunes are made. Imagine the mint striking a coin slightly off-center, or with a doubled image on the lettering, or even a subtle misalignment in the die that only a trained eye would notice. Those mistakes turn copper-plated zinc into pure gold, figuratively speaking. And if you've got a 2018 with flawless detail, the kind that could make a coin grader swoon, you might be sitting on an early retirement plan, but there's a twist. You might be thinking, well, I'll just dig through a jar of pennies and find one tonight. Here's the gut punch: millions of these coins are in circulation, but the ultra-rare ones? They're like needles in a haystack, and most have already been scooped up by sharp-eyed hunters. That's why this market is ruthless. You have to know what to look for, how to spot it, and where to sell it for maximum profit. And speaking of selling, here's a quick mental jolt: if you list a coin like this for $50 because you think that's a great deal, you might as well hand someone the keys to your dream home. I've seen collectors snag rare coins for a fraction of their worth from uninformed sellers. It's the modern-day gold rush, but with pennies. Now, before I tell you the #1 secret to spotting a high-value 2018 D Lincoln cent, I want you to picture something. You're sitting at an auction. The auctioneer is calling out bids, 100,000, 200,000, 3. The room is electric. Then, sold. And you're the one walking away with the check. The life you've been dreaming about, traveling, paying off every bill, gifting your kids the down payment for their first home, all from one coin you found in your change. That's not just a fantasy. It's happening to people right now. So, what's the key? It's all about condition, rarity, and certification. First, examine the coin under good lighting. No scratches, no wear, and sharp, crisp details on Lincoln's portrait and the lettering. Second, check for known 2018 D errors, off-centers, double dies, or any unusual marks. Third, send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified top-grade coin doesn't just sell, it ignites bidding wars. And those wars drive the numbers into the hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, but here's the kicker: every day you wait, more of these coins vanish into private collections. They won't be coming back to the open market for decades. By then, even if prices rise, you'll be locked out. That's why you can't just think about it. You need to act now, and I'll leave you with this cliffhanger. In the world of rare pennies, there's a pattern in how certain dates and mint marks spike in value, and if you recognize the pattern for 2018 D, you can predict which modern coins will be tomorrow's million-dollar treasures. In the next video, I'll reveal exactly how to spot that pattern before the crowd catches on. Until then, keep your eyes on your change. Your fortune could be hiding in plain sight. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that tiny penny sitting forgotten in your kitchen drawer is worth nearly $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny from 1950, with no mint mark, could be the golden ticket to a life of freedom, luxury, and pure financial relief. But here's the catch: millions of people have already thrown theirs away, clueless about the silent fortune they held in their hands. Are you about to make the same mistake? You see, the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark might look ordinary at first glance. It might be dusty, worn, maybe even scratched. But what if I told you that under that ordinary skin lies a rare story of survival and a hidden code of value that only a few lucky collectors truly understand? A coin that has shaken the auction rooms, leaving seasoned collectors speechless and everyday Americans richer than they ever dreamed possible. Back in 1950, America was riding a wave of optimism after the war. New cars, booming suburbs, dreams of the perfect life. Amidst all this, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies. But something happened, something almost no one noticed. A small batch of these Lincoln wheat pennies left the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark. And in that batch, a few exceptional coins were struck with a perfection that today's experts describe as miraculous. These coins escaped the clutches of heavy circulation, hiding in drawers, coin jars, and old piggy banks, just waiting to transform someone's life. Now, think about this. What would you do if you found out your childhood penny jar actually holds a key to a $999,000 windfall? Would you buy that dream beach house? Finally quit that job that eats away at your soul every Monday morning? Imagine the freedom of wiping away every single debt, of waking up to a day that belongs entirely to you. That's not just a fantasy, it's the real potential of this 1950 wheat penny, hiding in plain sight. But before you rush off to check your jars, let me tell you why this coin commands such jaw-dropping prices. It's not just about the age. It's about condition, rarity, and those magical errors that make collectors lose sleep at night. Some of these pennies show incredible sharpness in Lincoln's portrait, near-flawless detail in the wheat stalks on the reverse side, and microscopic die variations that only the trained eye can spot. And when these elements come together, the value skyrockets to levels that feel almost unreal. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stumble upon fortune while others spend their lives chasing it, always just out of reach? Maybe it's luck. Or maybe it's simply because they knew what to look for when everyone else didn't. You're about to become one of those people. Because tonight, when you pour out that jar, you'll know exactly what to search for. Let's talk specifics. When you flip over that 1950 penny, check for a strong strike. The lettering should be crisp and even. Pay close attention to Lincoln's coat and the delicate lines of his hair. These are clues, tiny whispers from the past telling you this is no ordinary penny. Look for a perfect rim without nicks or wear that cuts into the design. And remember, no mint mark means it came from Philadelphia, adding another layer of intrigue. Some of these near-perfect examples have shattered expectations at auctions, pushing bids to $999,000 or even beyond when collectors enter bidding wars fueled by obsession. Can you feel that excitement crawling up your spine? That tingling mix of fear and hope. Because right now, there are thousands of Americans unknowingly sitting on these coins, living paycheck to paycheck, while a secret millionaire hides in their pocket change. The question is, will you let this chance slip through your fingers too? Picture this: you find the coin, you get it graded, you list it at an auction, and the hammer drops at nearly $1 million. Suddenly, your life becomes a headline. Ordinary American finds $999,000 penny. The media wants to talk to you. Neighbors you never knew existed start dropping by. And you're on the beach, finally living the life you always promised yourself, but the story isn't just about money. It's about destiny. About choosing not to be another person who says, "If only I had known." It's about transforming your story from one of quiet desperation into a legend whispered about in collector circles for decades. Tonight could be the night that rewrites your family's entire future. Now, as you finish watching this, don't just sit back. Act. Find that old jar, check every penny from 1950, and look for that no mint mark, the strong strike, and the crisp details. If you find it, handle it with care, no rubbing, no cleaning. Get it certified immediately. And remember, one small decision today could open the gates to a life you can barely imagine. So what will it be? Will you join the silent army of forgotten fortunes, or will you be the one standing at the auction stage, holding up that tiny copper coin, while the world watches in awe? The choice is yours. And it starts now. But what if, hidden beneath that dust, there was a single copper penny that could transform your entire life? A tiny piece of metal, smaller than your thumb, holding a secret worth nearly $1 million. Right now, thousands of Americans are unknowingly holding on to this treasure, and most will never realize it. Would you recognize it if it slipped through your fingers? Or would you, like so many others, let this life-changing chance vanish into the shadows? This is the story of the 1951 wheat penny with the S mint mark, a coin so unassuming, yet so powerful, it could erase decades of debt, pay off your house, or let you retire early and travel the world in luxury. But most people throw it away, spend it on gas station gum, or let it rattle around in a drawer forever. Imagine the fear of discovering that you gave away something worth $993,000 just because you didn't look closely enough. Chills, right? But let's step back. The 1951 wheat penny wasn't born an instant legend. It started humbly at the San Francisco Mint, where only a limited number carried the subtle S mark, marking their origin. Most of these coins were spent, worn down, and lost to time. But a few, only a few, were struck with extraordinary precision, creating a coin that collectors whisper about in hushed, reverent tones. And the value? One sold recently for just under $1 million at a high-profile private auction, shocking even seasoned numismatists. That's not just a coin. That's a golden ticket to a new life. Imagine what you'd do if you had almost $1 million tomorrow. Would you finally buy that beach house where the sunset seemed to melt into the ocean? Maybe you'd surprise your spouse with a brand new luxury car or finally retire and move to a vineyard in California. But here's the twist, these dreams aren't as far away as you think. Because tonight, that future might be sitting quietly in your coin jar, waiting. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this penny so different from all the others? After all, millions were minted in 1951. The secret is in the detail. The most valuable 1951's wheat pennies show immaculate detail on Lincoln's hair and beard, razor-sharp edges on the wheat stalks on the reverse, and flawless surfaces free of contact marks. These high-grade survivors are so rare that even elite collectors spend years chasing them, often without success. So, next time you pick up a 1951 penny, feel its surface. Run your fingers across those delicate ridges. That tiny touch might feel like any ordinary copper piece, but it could hold the key to your freedom. Have you ever thought about what it feels like to stumble upon sudden wealth? The kind that takes your breath away. Think back to your last grocery trip. Did you hand over change without even glancing? What if that handful included this 1951's gem? The idea alone is enough to keep you awake tonight, replaying every penny you've ever let slip through your hands. Many ask, how can I tell if my penny is the one? First, flip it over and look for that subtle S mint mark right beneath the year 1951 on the obverse side. Next, inspect the sharpness. A truly valuable piece has a striking brilliance that stands apart even after decades. And finally, consider getting it professionally graded. A verified grade from a top-tier grading service can be the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one that secures your entire retirement. Picture this: a quiet evening, a glass of wine in your hand, no more worries about mortgage payments or credit card bills. That's the life-changing potential hidden in that 1 cent. Think it's just a fantasy? Think again. People across America have turned these pennies into new homes, exotic vacations, and endless freedom. Every time you let a penny fall into a tip jar without checking, you might be giving away that dream. Have you ever felt that twist in your stomach, that sudden rush of regret? Now imagine learning that the coin you gave away was worth almost $1 million. It's the kind of realization that can haunt a person for years. But here's the good news: it's not too late. You can start today, right now, to check your coins, to become the hero of your own financial story. Because in the world of rare coins, knowledge isn't just power, it's profit, it's freedom, it's a new beginning. So tonight, after this video ends, I want you to go grab that jar of old change, the dusty box in your closet, or the coins hiding behind your car seat. Take a flashlight, look closely, and breathe slowly. That moment might just be the turning point of your entire life. You could be holding the ticket to a future you never dared to imagine. The question is, will you take action, or will you let this moment slip through your fingers like so many lost dreams? Because the 1951's wheat penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of hidden potential, of secret wealth waiting for someone brave enough to search. And if you're still watching this, maybe that someone is you. Don't let this chance fade into the background noise of everyday life. Check your coins tonight, before it's too late. Your $1 million miracle might be waiting in the most unexpected place. And tomorrow morning, you might wake up not just a dreamer, but a millionaire. What if I told you there's a penny hiding in your attic, your old jar, maybe even in the palm of your hand, a single coin that could flip your entire life upside down? A coin so elusive, so underestimated, that collectors have offered up to $990,000 to claim it. Yes, I'm talking about the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny with a tiny D mint mark, and today, we're going to peel back every secret you've never heard. Imagine this: you're sifting through an old cigar box, dusty, forgotten. Inside, you spot a faded penny. You almost toss it aside. But what if that small circle of copper is the very key to paying off your mortgage, traveling the world, or finally telling your boss you're never coming back? What if that penny is your silent lottery ticket? The 1953 wheat penny was struck at the Denver Mint, and while millions were produced, only a microscopic fraction came out with hidden flaws and characteristics that turn a simple 1 cent piece into a millionaire's dream. But why this penny? Why 1953? Why that small, unassuming D? In the early 1950s, America was rebuilding its spirit. The Korean War had just ended. The country was shifting from rationing to dreaming big again. Factories were moving fast, minting coins at breakneck speed. And that's exactly where opportunity sneaks in. Under this rushed production, certain pennies emerged with off-center strikes, double dies, or weak mint marks that almost disappear under a magnifying glass. It's these exact hidden errors that push the value from pocket change to life-changing, but don't be fooled. The average 1953 D penny might only fetch a few dollars. It's the rarest variants, the error-struck marvels, that auction houses and collectors crave like hungry wolves. One pristine, misstruck 1953 D example recently surfaced at an estate sale and shocked everyone when it crossed $990,000. Imagine that, a single penny paying for a mansion, a supercar, or a lifetime of sunsets on hidden beaches. Pause for a second. When was the last time you checked the pennies in your kitchen drawer? Or that dusty jar in the garage? What if you've been passing over pure gold all this time? Let that sink in. Now, how can you tell if your 1953 D wheat penny is the jackpot? The first sign is the mint mark. On regular coins, the D is crisp and strong, but on these rare error coins, the D might be faint, shifted, or even doubled. Then there's the detail on Lincoln's coat and hair. Under a magnifying glass, the doubling might look like a ghostly outline, almost as if Lincoln's shadow is clinging to him. It's haunting, and potentially worth a fortune. Many people make the fatal mistake of cleaning these coins, rubbing away their value forever. Don't touch, don't polish, preserve them exactly as they are. The raw, untouched history is what sends collectors into bidding frenzies, and just think, while you're watching this video, there's a retiree somewhere cashing in their 1953 D penny for a half-baked price at a pawn shop, totally unaware that they just gave away nearly $1 million treasure. It's heartbreaking, but it's your chance to do better. Ask yourself right now, would you recognize a $990,000 penny if you saw one? What would you do with that kind of money? Pay off debts. Build your dream home. Travel to every city you've ever daydreamed about. The possibilities are electrifying. And that's exactly why you need to look, really look, at every single penny in your collection. By the way, there are rumors of even more valuable variants hidden across America, sitting in safe deposit boxes, forgotten in old suitcases. Those coins are waiting for someone just bold enough, just curious enough, to discover them. Someone like you. Now, if you're wondering where to start, it's simple. Grab a strong magnifying glass. Focus on the date, the mint mark, and any subtle distortions on Lincoln's face or letters. If you see unusual doubling or a faded, ghost-like D, your heart might just skip a beat. Collectors aren't just paying for a coin, they're paying for a story, a piece of time, a tangible link to the past. When you hold that penny, you're not holding metal, you're holding a silent witness to America's roaring 1950s, to a nation's unstoppable dream. So tonight, when the house is quiet, grab that jar. Pour out every penny. Let the pile echo on the table like a rain of hidden fortunes. And remember, in a sea of copper, one coin could change your life forever. Tomorrow, someone will uncover another 1953 D penny worth hundreds of thousands. Why not you? Why not today? Your future might be sitting in a coffee can right now, whispering your name. Stay vigilant. Stay curious. And never underestimate the smallest coin, because sometimes, the tiniest piece holds the biggest secret. Check your pennies, and maybe, just maybe, you'll step into the life you've always imagined. It's real. And it could be sitting in your pocket right now, quietly holding a secret that only a handful of people on Earth truly understand. This is the 1955 wheat penny with no mint mark. And today, we're not just talking about a piece of copper. We're talking about a key that unlocks a new life, a second chance, a possibility so electrifying it keeps collectors awake at night. Can a simple penny really be worth nearly $1 million? You might be shaking your head. But stay with me, because what you're about to hear might just change your life forever. Back in 1955, the United States Mint in Philadelphia experienced a mistake so rare, so unimaginable, that it turned an ordinary penny into a legendary ghost. The mint was under pressure, machines humming day and night, human eyes straining to keep up with the flood of coins. But on one fateful day, a die misalignment occurred. Instead of stopping the presses, thousands of pennies were struck with a doubled image, an error that would slip past inspectors and slip into the hands of unsuspecting Americans. Imagine being the worker who saw it first and decided to let it pass. Or the cashier who handed one out in change, never realizing they were giving away a fortune. You see, this wasn't just any error. This was a double die, one of the most dramatic and visible doubling errors in U.S. coin history. The date, the lettering, everything appears to almost dance and echo on the coin's surface. A hidden code, screaming out in plain sight to those who dare to look closely enough. Years rolled by, and people started noticing. At first, it was disbelief. A trick of the eye? A counterfeit? But then collectors realized the truth. This 1955 penny with no mint mark was no ordinary cent. Its rarity propelled it into the upper echelons of the numismatic world. Auctions began, and what started as a penny began to fetch unimaginable prices, as high as $987,000 for pristine, untouched specimens. Can you feel your heart racing just thinking about that number? Nearly $1 million, for a coin you might find hiding under your couch cushions. Now, ask yourself, what would you do if you found one? Would you keep it as a family treasure, or would you cash in and finally buy that lake house you always dreamed of? Maybe you'd pay off your child's college tuition or simply quit your job and start that business you've been afraid to chase. The possibilities feel endless, don't they? But there's more to this story. Not every 1955 penny is a golden ticket. Many forgeries have flooded the market, and it takes a sharp eye to spot the real deal. Look closely at the date. The doubling is so pronounced that even beginners can see it without a magnifying glass. The letters in Liberty and the motto, In God We Trust, are also doubled, creating a shadow effect that is both eerie and hypnotic. But here's the catch: if you aren't careful, you might end up selling a fortune for pennies, or worse, throwing it away entirely. So, how can you be absolutely sure you have the treasure? Start by weighing the coin. Authentic 1955 no-mint mark wheat pennies weigh around 3.11 grams, and they have that classic wheat stalk design on the reverse. Next, examine it under bright light and a strong magnifier. The doubling should be crisp, not mushy or blurred like many counterfeits. And if you're still unsure, send it to a reputable grading service. That small investment could unlock a payout that would change your family's legacy forever. Pause for a moment and think, when was the last time you checked that old jar of coins? Or that drawer where you toss spare change without a second thought? You might have laughed when someone told you to look for rare coins. But after today, will you ever look at a penny the same way again? The 1955 wheat penny with no mint mark isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of second chances, hidden opportunities, and the mysterious ways fortune can find us when we least expect it. In a world where most people feel chained to bills, stress, and routines, this single penny represents freedom, the chance to step off the treadmill and finally live life on your own terms. That I want you to imagine the day you discover yours. You walk into the kitchen, holding that small copper piece, your hands trembling. You call your spouse or your best friend, and your voice cracks as you tell them the news. You both laugh, maybe even cry, as the weight of financial fear starts melting away. You see your future opening up, bright, limitless, and finally yours. This isn't just about money. It's about transformation. A single moment that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. And it could all start with that tiny, forgotten penny. So, tonight, when the house is quiet and the world feels heavy, take a flashlight, open that coin jar, and start searching. Because somewhere out there, a 1955 wheat penny with no mint mark is waiting. And it's not just waiting to be found, it's waiting to rewrite the story of your life. The question is, will you be the one to find it? Before you scoff or reach for your coin jar, listen carefully, because this isn't some fantasy or late-night infomercial promise. This is a hidden reality few Americans even know exists. You see, there's a quiet army of collectors and treasure hunters across America right now, digging through boxes and attics, rifling through dusty jars in garages, hunting for that one elusive coin. And in this silent war for forgotten fortune, the 1956 wheat penny stands like a ghost ship, rarely seen, impossible to ignore. Why? Because a microscopic detail, a small error invisible to most eyes, transforms this ordinary copper coin into a life-altering prize. Picture this, it's 1956. America is booming. Elvis is on the radio, cars are gleaming on new highways, and young families are dropping pennies into piggy banks without a second thought. But in the Denver Mint, a small handful of Lincoln cents slipped through with a critical mistake. Double dies, repunched mint marks, and subtle variations that went unnoticed. These flaws turned them into ticking time bombs of value, waiting decades to explode into the spotlight. Pause for a second. Look at the coins in your kitchen drawer or the old coffee can in your basement. Have you ever thought about what secrets they hold? What if your next grocery store penny, the one you almost didn't pick up, is the very key to your new life? Isn't it wild how one coin can change your entire story overnight, but the story deepens? Most people assume old pennies are worthless. After all, they're just pennies. Yet a single verified 1956 D-error penny with the right doubling and clean surfaces has fetched auction prices approaching $981,000. Think about that for a moment. While millions are glued to the lottery or chasing crypto dreams, there's an ancient, tangible, and overlooked treasure sitting right in front of us, in pockets, in car ashtrays, in old glass jars passed down from grandparents. Collectors have described the moment they realize what they hold as a pulse-stopping shock. Imagine flipping a coin over, squinting at the date, and realizing that tiny D below the date isn't just a mark, it's your passport to freedom. It's your invitation to break free from the 9 to 5, to pay off that mortgage, to surprise your spouse with a vacation to the place you always said you'd visit someday. Suddenly, that dusty penny is not a penny. It's a doorway. Now, I know what you're thinking: how on earth do I know if I have this treasure? Great question. Let's crack this mystery wide open. The key identifiers of the rare 1956 D include strong doubling on the obverse lettering, a repunched mint mark where the D seems to have a faint shadow, and sharply defined wheat stalks on the reverse. Under magnification, you might spot an almost ghostly doubling effect around Liberty and In God We Trust. These are not random smudges, they are your map to gold. Hold up, are you reaching for a magnifying glass yet? Because you should. Every day you wait, these coins become rarer, and the window to find them shrinks. We're talking about a finite piece of American history. Once they're discovered and locked into private collections, they vanish from circulation forever. What does that mean for you? It means that penny jar in your house is not just spare change, it's a potential goldmine slowly ticking away. Just imagine waking up tomorrow to the news that your 1956 D penny sold for $981,000 at auction. Imagine your phone lighting up with congratulations, your family's eyes wide in disbelief. Imagine no more calls from collectors or banks asking for payments, instead, calls from travel agents, realtors, and people wanting to help you live the life you thought was impossible. But don't just dream. Act. Start with every penny you have, flip them, inspect them, study them. Learn to read their secret language. Check for those sharp wheat lines, that suspicious doubling, that elusive repunched D. And when in doubt, consult a trusted coin expert before you even think about spending it or tossing it back into the world, because in the end, life doesn't hand out second chances easily. That one copper coin might be your only ticket to rewrite your future. And if you let it slip by, someone else, maybe your neighbor, maybe a complete stranger, will snatch that destiny right out from under you. So, the question is, will you keep living in a world where pennies are just pennies, or will you step into the secret world where one penny can buy you freedom, joy, and the luxury to finally say yes to every dream you've been putting on hold? Right now, hidden in plain sight, is a fortune. And it's not in some distant oil field or locked away in Silicon Valley stocks, it's in your palm, waiting for your courage to discover it. Search today, because tomorrow might be too late. And when you find that 1956 D Lincoln wheat penny, remember, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding the power to change everything. That a single 1957 wheat penny with a tiny D mint mark could be your golden ticket to a life of wealth, freedom, and endless possibility. You might think, that's impossible. But tonight, you're about to uncover a truth so powerful, it might keep you awake, searching through every coin you've ever owned. There's a hidden world beneath the surface of our coins. The 1957 Lincoln wheat penny was born in an era of booming optimism. Eisenhower was president, America was dreaming big, and a quiet revolution was happening at the U.S. Mint in Denver. Millions of these pennies were produced, yet only a handful carry a secret so rare, collectors would pay as much as $978,000 to own one. You heard that right, nearly $1 million for a single penny. Why? Because some of these coins carry minting errors so microscopic, so perfectly flawed, that they transform an ordinary cent into a legend. But before we dive into those secrets, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered how your life would change if you suddenly stumbled upon a small fortune? Would you pay off that crushing mortgage, travel first class to Paris, or finally tell your boss goodbye forever? Imagine telling your friends you retired early because of a penny. Sounds crazy? That's exactly what makes this story so irresistible. Now, let's pull back the curtain. The 1957 wheat penny isn't just about age or nostalgia. It's about errors that turn it into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. One of the most notorious is the double die error, a tiny shift in the die during minting that creates a shadow-like doubling on the date or lettering. Another is the repunched mint mark, where the D was stamped more than once, leaving subtle but unmistakable traces. To the untrained eye, these look like smudges or scratches. But to collectors, they are worth more than diamonds. Some 1957 pennies also reveal die cracks, thin, lightning-like lines running across Lincoln's portrait. These flaws happen when the minting die fractures slightly, creating unique patterns that can't be replicated. Each die crack is like a fingerprint, absolutely one of a kind. And collectors don't just want rare coins, they want the story, the uniqueness, the bragging rights of owning something no one else can have. Think about this, a regular 1957 wheat penny might only get you a cup of coffee. But one with a dramatic double die or a bold repunched mint mark. That's where the price tag skyrockets into the hundreds of thousands. A well-preserved specimen has reportedly fetched close to $978,000 at exclusive auctions. Imagine seeing your own coin spark a bidding war between millionaires desperate to claim a piece of history. You might be asking yourself now, how do I know if I have one of these? That's where the real thrill begins. First, grab a magnifying glass, your future might depend on it. Examine the date, especially the 1957. Look closely for any sign of doubling in the numbers or in the word Liberty. Check the D mint mark. Does it look like it's been struck twice? Can you spot ghost-like outlines around it? Move to Lincoln's portrait. Are there cracks, raised lines, or strange textures that stand out? Every tiny imperfection could be a doorway to unimaginable wealth. Let's pause here for a second. Why haven't most people found these coins yet? The truth is, most Americans don't bother to look. They toss these pennies aside, assuming they're worthless. But tonight, you're different. You're no longer in the dark. You're now among the few who understand that a penny can be the key to a dream life. Imagine this, you sell your rare 1957 wheat penny for $978,000. You wake up tomorrow without debt, without worry. You buy that beach house you've always pictured in your mind. You feel the sand under your feet, smell the ocean air, and hear the waves whispering your new life story. All because you paid attention to a small, overlooked coin. Before we reach the final moment, let's anchor this in reality. If you find a coin you suspect is rare, get it professionally graded. Reputable grading services can confirm authenticity and preserve your coin's condition, because even a small scratch can mean the difference between a fortune and a few dollars. Don't sell to the first buyer who throws a big number at you. When it comes to rare coins, patience isn't just a virtue, it's a strategy worth hundreds of thousands. So tonight, when you open that old jar of coins or dig through that dusty box in the attic, remember, every penny has a story. And one of them could be your escape route to a life you never dared to believe possible. You hold the power to change your destiny, hidden in plain sight. But only if you act. Don't wait for someone else to discover your fortune. Don't let fear or doubt convince you to ignore what might be your greatest opportunity. Check every coin, examine every detail, and imagine every possibility, because somewhere out there, right now, someone is holding a 1957 D wheat penny and has no idea they're holding a $978,000 miracle. Will you let them take your dream, or will you claim it first? Your journey to freedom, to wealth, to an unforgettable story, it all starts with a single glance at a single penny. And tonight, that glance might just change your life forever. Now, what if I told you that penny might already be sitting quietly in an old jar on your shelf? There's one coin that has been whispering secrets through the decades, the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny with the D mint mark. And tonight, we're going to uncover the silent fortune that could change your destiny forever. Most people think pennies are worthless. They toss them in drawers or lose them under car seats, never imagining that one of these tiny copper coins could hold the power to rewrite their entire story. But the 1958 D wheat penny is no ordinary coin. It's a relic from the final chapter of an era, a hidden key that collectors and investors have been desperately hunting for decades. Because this isn't just a penny, it's a once-in-a-lifetime ticket to a life you never thought possible. Before you rush to check your change, let me ask you, have you ever wondered why some coins become so valuable that people are willing to pay more than the price of a brand new sports car just to own them? Is it just rarity, or is there something deeper, something emotional that drives people to chase after these tiny pieces of history? Let that question sink in as we journey deeper. Back in 1958, the Denver Mint struck millions of wheat pennies. But only a fraction carried the precise, crisp details collectors dream of. Even fewer survived without the scars of time, no scratches, no worn-out lines. And hidden among them, a tiny handful had subtle errors and die imperfections that transformed them from everyday coins into six-figure treasures. One of these 1958 D wheat pennies was recently appraised at a jaw-dropping $973,000 at auction. Imagine holding nearly $1 million in the palm of your hand, disguised as a simple 1-cent coin. Now pause for a second. What would you do if you had $1 million penny? Would you retire tomorrow? Travel the world first class? Help your family live a stress-free life? Or finally start that dream business you've been too afraid to pursue? It sounds like a fantasy, but for a few lucky Americans, this dream has become a tangible reality. The thrill of the 1958 D isn't just in its age or metal. It's the story it carries, a story of a mint transition, a dying design, and a secret era that escaped unnoticed. The wheat design was coming to an end. By 1959, it would be replaced with the Lincoln Memorial reverse. That final breath of the wheat penny series gives the 1958 D a symbolic weight, the last echo of a beloved design era, quietly bidding farewell as America marched into a new chapter. But what exactly should you look for if you think you might have one of these magical coins? Start with the date. It must be 1958, and it must show a small d just below the date, indicating it came from the Denver Mint. Next, inspect the reverse side carefully. Check for doubling on the lettering. Phrases like 1 cent and United States of America should show a ghost-like shadow if the coin has the rare double die error. Under magnification, you might see crisp, split lines that almost look like a secret second engraving hidden beneath the first. Condition is everything. A 1958 D wheat penny in worn, circulated shape might only fetch a few dollars, but a pristine, uncirculated example with the right doubling? That's when collectors start throwing around numbers like $973,000. That's not a made-up story. It's happened. And it could happen again. Maybe you're wondering, why would someone pay that much for a penny? Because rare coins are more than metal. They're time machines. They hold nostalgia, history, and the promise of owning something no one else on earth has. Investors see these coins as safe havens, treasures that grow in value even as the economy wobbles. In a world drowning in digital numbers and stock charts, there's something real, something deeply human about holding a rare penny in your hands. Right now, as you listen to my voice, someone is rummaging through an old coin jar and stumbling upon a fortune. Meanwhile, others walk past the same opportunity every day, blind to the miracle waiting beneath the dust. Which side of this story do you want to be on? Before we wrap this up, let me ask you one final question that could haunt you tonight. If you never check your pennies, how will you ever know if your $1 million escape is already waiting for you? Think about that when you head to bed tonight. The 1958 D-Wheat penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility, a sleeping dragon hiding among ordinary change. So, when the video ends, don't just close your laptop and move on with your life. Grab that jar of coins, sift through those rolls you've been ignoring, and look closely. Because the next great fortune isn't in Wall Street, it isn't in a lottery ticket, and it isn't in the hands of some billionaire investor. It might just be hiding in your palm, in the shape of a humble, overlooked penny. Start your journey today. Because one small discovery could lead to a life where money worries vanish forever, and your biggest problem is deciding which sunset to watch tomorrow. The 1958 D-Wheat penny is waiting for you. Don't let it slip away.